In today's balance patch, we were introduced to two new transport units. Previously, for Cortex, we had a light transport and a heavy one, as well as for Armada, light and heavy. These two new transport units are an intermediate versions. So how do you think they are called? They named them a heavy T1 air transport. I think it makes a lot more sense to just have light, medium and heavy. So that's how I'm going to call them for the rest of the video. With these two new units, I reminded myself that I know a few tricks regarding air transports. Today's video is going to be about unloading mechanic. This unloading mechanic works when we want to drop on some type of elevation. When dropping on flat terrain like this, it doesn't provide any benefits. So here I have two identical transports, both carrying a grunt, and I want to drop this grunt over this mechs over here. Now, just as a brief history, about a year and a half ago when I discovered this trick, the pathfinding for unloading units was a lot worse. So if you issued an unload command for transport number 1, the pathfinding will look like this. The transport will move horizontally until it reaches the bottom of the mountain, then it will decelerate, it will gain altitude, and then it will continue moving forward until it reaches the destination. And doing like this, the transport has to decelerate and accelerate multiple times, and it was just a mess. Now, if the edge of the mountain is smooth like this, it isn't that bad. But imagine if the edge of the mountain is like a staircase. Then the acceleration and deceleration happens multiple times, and it just takes a long time for the transport to reach its destination. Now, from that point, the pathfinding algorithm has been improved. So if I issue an unload command right now, the transport will move something like this. But it will still decelerate once it reaches close to the mountain. And this is wasting time. The trick here is, what I noticed is that aircraft that just move over the mountain don't decelerate. They just gain enough altitude so they don't have to worry about crossing the edge of the mountain. So for transport number 2, I'm going to issue a move command on top of the mountain, and once it reaches that place, then I'll issue an unload. So the trajectory of the second transport, it will be something like this. It will gain altitude and then drop. So we'll not have to worry about the edge of the mountain. So now, since the game is paused, I'm going to issue an unload command for transport number 1 and a move and unload for transport number 2. So let's see the difference now. As you can see, with this trick you are able to unload units a lot faster. There are advantages and disadvantages to both of these methods. If on top of the mountain there was an AA static turret, with transport number 1 you could sometimes be able to unload the grunt before the transport dies. And that's because the T1, the transport number 1 is shielded by the mountain. So the AA turret will not shoot it until it reaches close to the edge. While transport number 2 will get shut down because it has a lot more elevation. So that means that it is a lot more exposed to the range of the static turret. So there are benefits and disadvantages for both methods. Now, in this short demonstration, you can't see that much of a difference between these two. But if you try it, for example, on ascendancy, from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain, you'll see that there are several seconds difference between these two methods. So it actually pays off. I could also show you another example over here with the heavy transports. Again, they carry the same unit. They kind of start from the same position. And the goal here is to demonstrate a more complex scenario. Here the transports have to ascend over this mountain, then descend in this hill, ascend over the second mountain, and the goal is to unload over here. Okay, so now let's try this. The first heavy transport is just going to unload over here, and the second one is going to move and then unload. Again, watch the difference in trajectory. So as you can see, this trick allows you to move units a bit faster. Now we come with our medium transports, these new units that we have. So again, I'll repeat the same experiment. And you'll see something fascinating. With these two new transport units, there isn't a difference between these two methods, which gives me hope that somewhere in the future, the same pathing algorithm will be used for all the transports. They'll both arrive about at the same time. So that's for the first video. On the second video, I'll focus on rally mechanics.